Well, good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups, Columbus, Ohio. Today's January 27th of 2021. So we are bringing to you entrepreneurial success stories live, sharing entrepreneurs and what they are doing, what they're building, and then interconnecting and networking, talking, chatting about the different ecosystems, the companies that are being built, and in general, learning from each other, from amazing people doing amazing things and building amazing companies. So today we will have a gentleman from Cleveland, Ohio, Tino, sharing what he is doing at Baru. So you are welcome to tune in live via Facebook, or you can join us on our Zoom if you go to Columbus, the number one, mc.com. There's a link there that you can register and participate live in our Q&A after we hear the presentation from Tino. But before we do that, let's go around the room, introduce ourselves. For the people that are on the Zoom, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're tuning in from, and what you do.
All right, so I'll go ahead and just kind of go from my screen orientation, and we'll start off with Mark Wiseman, please. Give us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Thank you. Mark Wiseman, Managing Director of Navidar up here, like Tino and Andrew in Cleveland, Ohio. We are a technology-focused investment bank, which means we work with exciting technology companies to help them with capital raises or sell-side M&A projects.
Awesome. Thank you. And let's move to H. Cole.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cole Hassey. I'm a 3L at Ohio State University Law School. I'm here actually on behalf of the Entrepreneurial Business Clinic, which is a program for 3Ls at Ohio State University that does pro bono work for startups. And I'm here just to learn as much as I can.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Cole. Glad to have you. And we love what your organization does for the community. We really appreciate having you. And next, we've got Andrew Cohen.
So I'm Andrew Cohen. I'm from Cleveland also, retired lawyer, interested in 1 Million Cups for about 5 years. And actually Tino presented to the Cleveland chapter of 1 Million Cups probably about 5 years ago. So welcome, Tino. Glad to see you again. He and I have touched base from time to time, and I'm really glad to hear how his business has developed. And I spend most of my time now reading books. So here's my latest, Conviction. This is a this is a fiction mystery. That's my story.
Thanks, Andrew. Always a pleasure to have you. And last but not least, Mark Doyle.
Hey, everyone. Kind of feel like I'm not an organizer with 1MC anymore. I've been missing for 3 months. I'm a CTO for Honest Jobs. We help people with criminal records find employment fast. The reason I haven't been here as much as I want is because we are going through Techstars and we are wrapping up on February 11th. Looking forward to that demo day. So it's been a fun process, but glad to be here. I miss 1MC, miss you guys. So it's good to hear about companies and what people are doing.
I was waiting for you to do the rest of your your spiel there, Mark. Not today.
No.
All right, not feeling the juices, no problems, bro. Well, so like Mark just said, 1MC is a volunteer-led organization. He and I actually have a lot in common. We are both organizers that are, I guess, transplants. We also were presenters back in the day. So we both got to Columbus in 2018, mid-year. I from Alaska and him from Texas, so the two largest states in the country. And we came down here to Columbus. First thing we were looking for was a 1MC chapter. Steve had just brought it up in June or July that year. And, we've been loyal attendees from that point. And then Steve offered us an opportunity to join as organizers in December of 18. So, Mark and I share that journey and that story. Personally, I'm a retired Air Force guy, had a tech startup and had an exit in 18 as well. And now I run a accelerator in the urban community, and super stoked to always see the new presenters and entrepreneurs in our community. So really happy to have Tino here. Steve's going to tell us a little bit more though about the background of 1MC, why we're here, why we're doing this, and share a little bit more about himself. So Steve, I'll pass it on to you.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you. So yeah, I'm Steve Flaherty, founder CEO at Nicotech, a sustainable infrastructure company where we're taking waste plastics, converting it and upcycling it into infrastructure in both asphalt and concrete. And then I'm also an entrepreneurial advisor at the Delaware Entrepreneurship Center at Ohio Wesleyan University. So this is the weekly dose of entrepreneurship, that midweek fuel. That's kind of how 1MC was designed. So for those that don't know, 1 Million Cups, as George said, is a volunteer-led organization. It was started by the Kaufman Foundation, and the Kaufman Foundation is one of the largest entrepreneurial endowments in the country. It's a $2 billion endowment that is out there to help foster entrepreneurship, help do things from education to grants, and really fuel the community so that, you know, when everybody participates, everybody wins. That's been the mission of the Kaufman Foundation for over 60 years. And that is started down in Kansas City. And in 2012, they did a grassroots initiative to get outside of the walls of Kansas City, more than just in the academic institutions and the studies and everything that the Kaufman Foundation did, and start something that wasn't necessarily a pitch thing like, you know, a lot of things are out there, but more of just a presentation. And the idea is that, you know, it's called 1 Million Cups because entrepreneurs, you know, you're usually drinking cups of something, whether it's coffee, whether it's drinks, and they are getting together and talking about their businesses. So if you have 1 million cups of coffee being served, you are learning from other entrepreneurs and networking, and learning that the struggles that, you know, one entrepreneur or one business or one company, you know, might not be that unique, right? It's the entrepreneurial journey is kind of uniform across all the platforms, and the way it goes through the cycle and the roller coaster of what we call entrepreneurship. So if we can learn from each other, we can better build our own businesses. We can better support the entrepreneurs in our communities. The small businesses and the services out there that are there to support businesses as well can help plug in. And it's you know, it takes a village mentality. So that's every week. We have 160 chapters across the country that get together on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. and they share a story of the entrepreneurial journey. So they have a company come in, talk about what they're doing, what they're building, and then, you know, how that applies. And when we have the presentation, we have a Q&A that the audience actually gets to ask, you know, live questions. So we really get to hear about the inner workings and the mindset of the entrepreneur, and then, like I said, learn from each other. So that's what we're doing here today. So we're excited to have Tino join us up from the north. You know, the beautiful thing of virtual is that you eliminate that entire I-71 drive, and you can plug in here to the ecosystem right here in Columbus, Ohio. So, but we're happy to have you, and we're excited to hear all about Baru. So I will turn it over to Tino. We'll hear your presentation, and then we'll dive into the Q&A. So, and again, if you want to see people tuning in here out on Facebook, you're welcome to join us on Zoom. Just go to Columbus1mc.com and you can plug right in here. But Tino, the stage is yours. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Columbus.
Great, thanks for having me. It's always fun to just talk about Baru and explain what we're doing. Let me share a deck. And it's also fun to hear about all the entrepreneurs around the table here. So my name is Tino Go, and I founded a company called Baru. We're using augmented reality to revolutionize manufacturing. At the same time, we're supporting local businesses, we're creating jobs in our hometowns, and we're saving the environment. We're starting in the furniture industry because there's so much waste in it, it's easy to disrupt. The furniture industry wastes $9 billion every single year on logistics. The industry's inefficiency is our unfair advantage. The industry has an 18-month operating cycle from design to delivery worldwide. And our manufacturing system shortens it to just 2 weeks. That allows us to solve a problem that 1 of every 2 buyers experience. They find what they love, but they can't get it in the size, material, or color they need. We have made it super easy. You choose the model you want from our pre-engineered design catalog. You customize it in augmented reality, and we deliver it in 2 weeks. So here's how it works. After you choose a product, you can see it in your room while you're changing the colors and materials, and you can size it to fit. And when it looks perfect, you simply click on the button and buy. We deliver it in 2 weeks. Of course, if you don't want to use augmented reality, you can order it directly from our website. You can enter in the specs, the color, material, and dimensions before buying. Those digital manufacturing instructions are automatically getting sent to a hometown manufacturer, because there are thousands of custom cabinet shops and millwork shops with idle robotics everywhere. We've created a capital efficient, zero footprint, distributed manufacturing network. We'll be less than 1 hour away from 135 million households. At the same time, we're saving the world. We're not shipping trees from Appalachia to China to Malaysia and then back as furniture. We're supporting local businesses, creating hometown jobs, and reducing tons of waste from bad inventory. We're eco-positive too. With every sale, we plant 3 trees. We're replacing more than the wood that we use, and the trees capture more than the CO2 that's emitted from the electricity we use and the delivery fuel. And here's how Baru can build better products than the competition for the same selling price. Our virtual supply chain avoids 50% of the cost structure in the furniture industry. The $9 billion that's spent on the management and distribution of inventory, we've eliminated most of those operating costs from our business. So we're using those savings for higher quality materials, local manufacturing services, and we get higher gross margins to grow revenues and higher profits for investors. And we're maximizing for customer satisfaction. We can focus on the things that customers really care about: customization, high-grade materials, and excellent customer service. Our competitors are at a real disadvantage because their cost structure is so wasteful. We can sell to businesses, wholesale, and we can sell direct to consumer. But among consumers, we have 2 target groups: adults under 40 who want it online, easy and fast, and customized, and then all of the folks who've looked and looked, but they can't buy what doesn't exist. Baru's made it super easy to buy what every individual wants. We figure we're expanding the market by $3 billion from the existing current $18 billion per year. Because the $18 billion is all crammed on the left side of this chart, where most retailers are only offering standard selections in limited sizes and materials. We're expanding buyers' choices to almost any size and configuration. And we're delivering custom quality at crate and barrel prices. We're laser focused on furniture for the home and office first, because we already have inquiries for both home and office from buyers, and we can do both with the same manufacturing partners. And beyond furniture, we can work with the same manufacturing partners to dominate all interior renovation projects. We launched in 2020. We partnered with Google in June on their Employee Perks program. And then Microsoft and Apple chose Baru for their Perks program also, which is managed by this company called Passport Corporate. Now we're in 16 regions around the US, all from customer demand. We'll add another 45 regions as demand grows. We're also working with office furniture dealer partners in various large cities around the US. We have hundreds of profitable partnership opportunities. Our first Employee Perks program has 700,000 potential customers. We're building partner relationships with designers, furniture dealers, and businesses with direct customer connections exactly at the time that folks need furniture. There are a lot of benefits from these partnerships: repeat customer revenues, low customer acquisition costs, partner sales efforts, and we'll still own the customer relationship because we get their contact information. Baru can grow to $1 billion of sales with zero manufacturing investment or inventory, because our manufacturing partners have already invested in their factories, and we'll have manufacturing partners in the top 60 metro areas at least, with a manufacturing partner within 1 hour of 2/3 of the US population. Everyone in those regions can buy custom furniture with a few taps on their phone. Over the past 6 months, we've had great growth with very little marketing expense. 87% from the third quarter to the fourth quarter, and our last quarter's average monthly growth rate was 57%. And we're on track to beat December's sales cadence also. 29% of our revenues are from repeat customers, which is awesome for a non-consumable product and for a company that's only been selling less than a year. I've recruited a Rockstar team. Kevin has been a software engineer his entire life. He's managed major projects for NASA and GE. He built our awesome AR to e-commerce program platform. And Melinda has been in digital marketing, starting at Google, and she was subsequently a partner at WPP, advising companies like Walmart, Volkswagen, and Procter & Gamble. Leland is recognized nationwide for manufacturing automation. He was also the president in 2019 of the Cabinet Makers Association. So he knows our manufacturing partners. He's well trusted among that community. He knows what those businesses want. Ashton, she's a veteran growth hacker. She's expert in high converting digital marketing and social media. My own background is in operations and corporate finance in the US and Europe. I've overseen hypergrowth from 12 million to 85 million in 5 years. I've also overseen a $1.2 billion revenue business. I invented this method and wrote the patent application. We're raising a $1 million seed round. We'll use 70% of it to accelerate our revenue growth. So that includes sales, marketing, and more corporate partnerships. We've seen that corporate partnerships are a cost-effective way to get revenue. We're able to focus on revenue growth because we've already invested $345,000 for our technology and platform. Angels have invested $260,000. That includes a Wii Funder that's currently live, and founders have invested over $170,000. We foresee a lot of strategic partners and acquirers among online and traditional businesses. Baru would be an incredible bolt-on business for a Wayfair or an Alibaba that they could scale super fast with their massive existing customer base. And this could easily add billions of additional revenue and profits for the company that puts their marketing juggernaut behind an acquisition like Baru. And as we use Baru's technology for non-furniture categories, there will be new sets of major partners and large buyers. We want the right investors to join Baru. We'll revolutionize manufacturing. We'll create hometown jobs. We'll rebuild the local economies and save the environment. It's the perfect time to invest in Baru and pour jet fuel on the fire to grow revenues massively.
All right. Well, thank you. That is really exciting technology. I got to ask, how, so augmented reality, AI, all that is on the rise. It's applied in a lot of different ways. Where did the idea to apply it to furniture and solve this problem come from?
Ultimately, it started with the idea that we should be able to talk to the robots directly. And then there was, during the early years of customer research and market research, I discovered that customization, 80% of the population were not comfortable with ordering custom because they didn't know how it would look. And that's even borne out in standard retail of existing standard selections. There's a higher conversion rate with augmented reality. And you can see the proliferation of AR being used among traditional furniture retailers. So the idea of creating this contiguous process was largely, it had to be digital. It had to minimize the intervention of people and humans because that introduced time, cost, and errors. And so AR became just like when I met Kevin 2.5 years ago at a Tech Points event, and when he said we can use AR for that, that became, aha, yes, that's the killer. Customization is the killer app for AR. It becomes an active tool. It becomes a data generator instead of data reporter.
Gotcha. So I'm curious, so you've got these manufacturing partners, localized manufacturing, how do you control, consistency across the board, so that's like, hey, and with that, the price, hey, this desk is, $400. It looks like this, and if you order it from this person, and this person, it's the same. How do you standardize that but also keep, it 40, 45, 50, 60, 100 different companies under the wraps?
Yeah, we control all of as much of that as we can. First of all, the workshops, the custom cabinet shops and millwork shops that have CNC, the ones that are amortizing $200,000 of capital equipment, they're already the best in the region. And then they also companies that live and die by their hometown reputations. So they're small. They tend to be between 5 and 50 employees, depending on the region. In the big cities, they tend to be smaller workshops that need labor substitutes, and so they buy CNC machines. In the smaller communities, the ones that are interested in working with us are actually the larger companies because they know about marginal cost and how to amortize all of that fixed cost. And so it's interesting. And so the first thing is choosing the workshops. And to a large extent, they self-select into the best in the region, in the world. And then 90% of our quality control comes directly from us. We design the machine code. And so the machines do what they're told to do, instructed to do at 1,000th of an inch precision. And then we buy the materials. We specify and buy the materials. So for our top end veneered material, it's made in Belgium. So if I order it in New York or Cleveland or San Francisco, it's identical. That's how we control for quality.
Gotcha. Okay, so you are selecting the materials. You're not relying on what that shop has or anything. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, so standardized product across the board. It's just utilizing the labor, the machines, the localized manufacturing thing to then be point of source, right? So like, okay, you're in Dallas, you're going to get something around Dallas as opposed to us shipping from Cleveland or Idaho or New York or Europe or Asia, right? So that makes sense. So I mean, you kind of mentioned the augmented reality part of it. Is that something that I mean, I know you've got the exit plans and, you know, potential acquirers or whatever. Is it something that you would private label or license out or anything as part of that as you scale? Like if Ashley Furniture came and said, hey, we'd love to use this piece, and, you know, you do like a powered by Baru play, is that something that you look at? Or
yeah, absolutely. We're already doing that with you know, the office furniture companies that we're talking to. You know,
okay.
the folks that we are, yes, we're already doing that.
Gotcha. So, and those partnerships with, I mean, you've got some big corporation names on there. Is that, I mean, that's their employee purchase program type thing. So they can go on and say, here's a partner that you can go select stuff for. Are they looking at utilizing this for like relocation packages and stuff? It's like, hey, you've got a new home that you're going into, and you can go, you know, purchase all that, and any, you know.
It's purely a employee discount program, you know. So we are on the program, and all employees can always get a consistent discount without waiting for a sale. And we don't actually have sales, but we do have like special offers. And the benefit of that is I've heard some of the Google employees tell me that they bought Baru because, hey, my Google recommended you. It's and so we're capturing that halo effect.
Yeah, you get that validation, that stamp of approval. Interesting. Last question, and then let's open up here to the audience here. Talk a little bit about, you know, the journey and the traction that you've got. So, I mean, did you have it sounded like you had the augmented reality technology first, and then we're finding the end market use of where it fit best. Is that how it got developed, or were you thinking furniture from the start?
In 2014, I tried to get a bookcase. It started with furniture.
Okay.
And this is the second time in my life when I was really frustrated by not being able to find something. The first time was in Paris in 1988. But the whole point is, when I discovered that to get a bookcase in the 21st century was a medieval process, that was just appalling to me. It was ridiculous. It was medieval, it was overly expensive, and yet, having overseen so many, mostly manufacturing companies, I knew that the state of software and the state of automation was so advanced, and I knew that CNC machines had come down in price, and they were easy to use, and they were widespread, and I knew whenever that's the case, there's always excess capacity. And then when I dug into it, I discovered that the average woodworking CNC machine is only in use 2 hours a day on a good day.
Wow.
It just begged to be used. Now, the problem was, okay, how do I talk to these machines consistently, contiguously, minimizing the labor component? Because of variances in quality and thinking between people. And so we found that common homogeneous data thread that we can connect together into one continuous process. So we've created this middleware that encompasses the entire industry vertical. And,
gotcha.
And we can continue to expand, furniture, wood furniture is just the entry point, but it's those same CNC machines, we can use for all interior home renovation, home and office renovation. And then the technologies generally from, going from digital to physical is applicable to a lot of different product categories. They just have to meet some economic rationale. But yeah, it started with, I was always the corporate finance guy that was either walking the shop floor looking for opportunity or in someone else's office proposing some opportunity, which often made me unloved. But that's the only way you can create the big swings in the financial statements, and that's what I like to do.
Gotcha.
And when I realized that $9 billion of an $18 billion industry was spent on logistics, it's like, oh my gosh, there's something that needs to be fixed here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's we got a lot of people on here. Let's open it up for questions from the group here. So feel free to unmute and ask your questions here. I see Andrew, you got your hand raised. Go ahead.
So Tino, you mentioned you provide the materials, so that must mean you're inventorying them, or it would disrupt the 2-week commitment. How are you handling the inventory of your materials? And the other is, do you have a customer service component to this, to your business, meaning like a call center that people can call in and ask questions?
Both are excellent questions. So the inventory of materials issue and the customer service issue. Inventory of materials, we carry no inventory because everything is ordered just in time. Because as fragmented as the manufacturing industry is in every metro area in the world practically, distribution of big, heavy panels is equally fragmented. So every metro area has multiple distributors. And so when we order that panel from Belgium, it's already in that town. And so it's delivered within 2 days. There's generally a it's generally a twice a week delivery. And so we can receive all of the materials within a week. It gets processed on day 8 or day 9, and then it's delivered before day 14. When we receive an order from a customer, we send out 3 simultaneous messages. We reserve the manufacturing services on day 8 or day 9 from day 0. We send out the purchase orders for the materials, and they start flowing to that manufacturer, and we schedule the delivery before day 14. The second question was customer service. Absolutely. People have loved the level of customer service that we're providing. It's personal. And because I've gotten that reaction, the customer service person is me, by the way. And because I've gotten that reaction, I've increased our financial budget for customer service team. It was always a big piece of it, but I've actually added heads to the forecast. And that'll be wholly remote as the way, I mean, the same way we all are.
Tino, very interesting. Love what you're doing. Quick question, in terms of positioning your company, whether it's for investors or for out in the market, are you positioning yourself as a furniture company, manufacturing company, a technology software company, or maybe something else? Because I think that's critical to the fundraising.
Yeah, it's been a struggle because we're a platform and marketplace is what we truly are and how we behave. Because we don't want to be pigeonholed in furniture because we've got a generalizable technology. However, when I speak with investors, they struggle with, they understand the business as, or they often have a problem with one of 3 aspects. How do we get customers? Because they don't understand and they haven't seen what I've seen. It's a marketplace, and if they don't know the supply side, there are doubts about scaling. They don't know that there are thousands of these machines and they're only in use two hours a day. And they don't know that the productivity gains on these machines is between the true cost of $10 an hour, run 24 hours a day, and the market charge rate, which is $180 an hour. So there's that entire productivity gap to reduce and and benefit both machine owner and Baru and customers. And then the third aspect is, when I'm speaking with tech investors or startup investors, it smells like manufacturing and complex. We're actually a booking system like Airbnb for idle machines.
Yeah, yeah, I can see the conundrum there. I think the furniture is the launch area, but the technology, I mean, you're a technology company, is I think the lead there. Because I mean, you'll have idle 3D printers, right? And as we get more adaptive into metal 3D printing and everything, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do, that you can have a catalog of CAD drawings, where you can print on demand, if you will. You need this piece, you need this component, you can see it on there. I think that's where the power really lies, is that you can outsource, be that booking service for manufacturing, have a verification process for a shop to get signed up, so that you can vet them, make sure that they do this, and have standards that apply to that. But then, I mean, I looked at this probably 2006. I did a thesis or whatever paper on disrupting the supply chain inventory for replacement parts. So that, if your washer knob broke on your GE washer, you didn't have to replace the entire washer. You could get it printed, but GE didn't want to stock those knobs anymore because they're onto the next model. So, but you have the CAD drawings from the original engineering specs that could be pulled up and have a catalog. And so what I had proposed was like an iTunes version of where, hey, you want that washer knob? It's $1.29 for the plan. And then you'd have a outsourced, 3D printer where if you had your own, you could print your own thing, or you had a select, disruptive manufacturing people all across the country. I see this very similar, where that could be something that, I mean, can be spread out. It's just your augmented reality and stuff, starts with that end market. You got to have a launch market, and it's furniture, but I mean, it can go into the custom cabinet making, like I think you kind of mentioned there, with the entire home remodeling, where, hey, I want a built-in cabinet that goes in here, and what's it look like, and your AR system handles it.
Yeah. George.
I think you're onto something there, Steve.
So is the problem with the investor feedback that you've already set yourself up as a consumer service? Like right now, is that the challenge you're facing?
The challenge I'm facing is investors are all different.
Sure.
I'm telling the right story to the wrong person, or the wrong story to the right person on a consistent basis.
Right. But if your long-term vision is partnering with companies to become that middleware, are you setting yourself up to do that right now? Like with a sales team that's going to go identify the partners, sell the crap out of what you're trying to do. Not the consumer side of things, where you're trying to actually get people to use your service, but to do the partnership where IKEA, people could go to IKEA's website, download their brand white labeled app, and then go do that. And so is that what's holding up that long-term vision, is the sales process to partner with those companies?
No, because we have, in the first half of this year, we have three growth pillars. One is scale opportunities, where we're looking for partners, and those B2B2C connections. For example, with real estate management firms they've got 40,000 apartments under management. We could be a resident perk. We're looking for designer collaborations, licensing deals, all kinds of. We're introducing something new to the market that a lot of individual businesses could benefit from. Not only businesses, but consumers could benefit from, customers. And so that's our first tier, developing those, that's our first priority, developing those more of those relationships. The second priority is addressing niche customer demands. On our material selection, I suggested we put this fire engine red material because it was just an experiment. I didn't know whether it would sell, but we don't care. Our inventory is a digital file and an image, and out of that experiment, we've gotten sales for multiple reasons. We sold one dresser in this fire engine, high gloss fire engine red, to a lady in New York who had her feng shui advisor recommend the power and energy of a red dresser in her bedroom. I mean, these niche cases we can solve. And then this week I've had multiple conversations about fun colors from people from Australia to, I talk to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea of introducing fun colors, and that's also come up with my internal marketing and art direction team. How do we create an easy way to navigate a website to match colors? Because we can literally have infinite color selection or quasi-infinite color selection. And so the second, sorry, I got waylaid on colors. The second tier is addressing niche demands. So whether it's feng shui, whether it's tiny homes, whether it's other affinity groups, and we're doing a lot of blog posts around that. Home offices, for example. Most of our sales have been home office desks. And if you look at the sizes of the desks, they're super specific. Nothing looks like it was stock. And then the third category is traditional digital marketing. We're interceding when someone is doing another search, and we're getting some of those sales too. I don't know if I even answered your question really well.
No, it's great. I'm just trying to understand your thinking, and because you've got you're trying to build a sustainable business, but you've also got this licensable technology that could be used across industry.
I don't think the technology is as powerful as it's not a turnkey technology. It really relies on the marketplace and how we treat our supply side of the marketplace. And these are independent business owners. They don't want to be employees, and so you have to treat them like independent business owners, and that's how we are treating them. That we treat them like customers, and that's ultimately one of the challenges. If a Wayfair tried to replicate this, that would be a big cultural shift at HQ to treat their suppliers like friends instead of enemies.
Right. Awesome. I like it.
Real quick, going off of that point. So is this a flat rate profit sharing model with your manufacturers, or I mean, does the New York shop that has higher labor cost, overhead cost, or whatever, if the item sells for $1,000, does this guy get 200 and this guy get 300, or how's the profit sharing of the manufacturing costs set up?
The manufacturers across the entire United States are equally within a small band of variability, equally inefficient. So their cost structures are very similar across the US, and their productivity is very similar. They tend to be 4-layer organizations where you have owner management, design engineering, admin, and shop floor labor. Shop floor labor has to support the entire cost structure of what goes above it. And the highest variability is not in the of cost, is the shop floor. And so, you know, that causes their standard rate of charge to vary very little. And so so we are paying the US average, which is around $120 an hour for shop floor labor and $180 an hour for machine time. We know that shop floor labor does not earn anything close to $120 an hour. And so, again, increasing the shop's productivity, we're really easy for these shops to process because we drop to the shop floor with the machine code and the material that are consigned to them. So they don't involve any management time, any design engineering time, any admin time. Eventually, they're going to have push button invoicing where as soon as they're done, you know, they submit a picture and it's done, claim done, and we'll auto-generate that invoice for them and pay them immediately. And so we want to make it as easy as possible for them to run their standard business and run ours too.
So what kind of margins do you have? Sorry, George.
Yeah, so right now our margins are around 30%, but as their margin, given the fact that they're bypassing all their cost structure and we're paying them their standard rates, is around 80%. But as we increase our volumes per week, we're going to start reducing their pay rate, and they'll still be happy with it, and that will increase our margin. You know, in certain categories that are unloved by manufacturers, I figure we'll go north of 60% in certain margins.
I was going to suggest that it might be a good time to buy a CNC machine, huh? to leverage the technology. But to that end, the user interface portion of it, you know, we've seen in other places, at least from what the user can see, not necessarily what's going on behind the scenes. We had a presenter last year that was doing something similar with clothing, where they used AR to allow the customer to get something that fit them specifically, and they were able to, you know, try it on in real time. Is that where the patent lies? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing the patent lies in more of a process. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a method and process. We've got two basic claims in the patent application. It hasn't been awarded yet. So the first claim is we give the customer control over the manufacturing process, and we use these technologies and tools and string them together into a method. The second claim is we are using XR, augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality, as not a data reporting tool from an existing data store. We are using it to create data, and we're pushing it upstream into the data store. We are reversing the flow of data, and we are creating things that never existed before from purely a virtual standpoint into a manufacturable specification set.
Got it. Got it. Nicole, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Tino. Love the presentation. Really interesting. Just to expand on your discussion of the patent, what other product markets do you see this technology eventually applying to, and what kind of challenges do you foresee facing when you do try to apply this technology to other product markets?
The challenges come with product and market identification And if the challenges are insurmountable, then it's not a product category or anything that we can address. But one product category that that can be addressed because the technology already exists is the fact that in Germany, 15% of the cars have been upgraded with big wheels and tires that protrude from the cars. These are 12-year-old Mercedes with upgraded between 5 and 10,000 euros of upgrades: wheels, tires, brakes, motors. I'm willing to bet a big subset of that 15% of auto owners, there are over 80 million residents in Germany, would be willing to spend another few thousand euros if they could design their own aftermarket body panels. Put on their VR glasses, wave the wands around, and create a 3D form that we translate into a 3D printed mold or a CNC cut foam mold into which carbon fiber or fiberglass is laid and delivered to a body shop weeks later. That's a completely new category. I imagine those products, it's completely doable now, but no one's really addressing it. And so what other similar categories are there where we can sell products at 100 times the cost of materials? I'm sure there are others, but right now we're hyper, we're just talking about $18 billion. We're talking about $18 billion of wood furniture in the US. I spent almost 10 years in Europe. I know how to work in Europe. As soon as we're stable here, I'm over there creating joint ventures, because the way our globalization method is just a website and catalog localization effort.
I think you had something you were going to say when I mentioned it would be a good time to buy a CNC machine.
I think there will be entrepreneurs among them that will either hire additional labor and create more shop capacity, and because they understand that, oh my gosh, I'm only earning $40 an hour, but it's 4x my true cost on the machine. Let's add labor. And similar to how Airbnb has created these standalone real estate companies that just create hotels out of multiple units, I think there will, eventually be that kind of response in the world. And I imagine that would be super useful for us, because that could be our baseload in a region. And tapping into idle time at the existing workshops could be, the shared economy marketplace model. But that baseload of production, we would get at a market rate of return, 20% a year or whatever, market ROI is.
So Tina, you're CEO, right? Is your role. So is it your desire to stay that role, or are you wanting to get up every morning and lead the team and fundraise? Because here you're doing customer service. I see some CTO, engineering, and product creation and technology thing there. As this thing scales, is it your desire to stay in that role, or is it to have the person come in that's the pitch man that's out there marketing and everything, and then you control the product design and functionality and ensure the kind of more like a COO role? Or what's your desire as you grow?
My strengths, going back to Clifton Strengths Finders, my 5 strengths are 4 are around strategy and vision, and 1 is around absolute stamina and execution. And so knowing my strengths, I will go to whatever is needed. Because, you know, in terms like once the organization gets beyond a certain size, I know I won't want to be a COO, that's for sure, because I can't deal with that kind of, that's not my thing.
Okay.
But, you know, going to Tokyo and setting up joint ventures and getting a vision alignment and getting cultural alignment, and that is my thing.
Okay.
And I've never worked in Tokyo.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
Andrew.
so 1 million. I mean, I think you can go out for a lot more, and that you'll need it if you're going to scale. Is there a reason asking just to start at 1 million? Is it a pretty number, or is it?
Because that'll allow me enough an 18-month runway and to hire my core team, and we're a gross margin driven business. So the whole point is, as we get volume, our gross margin will feed growth, and with some management and a cap structure that includes revolving debt, and we could maybe hit these science fiction revenue numbers with just $1 million of seed.
Gotcha. So you're looking at that as a convertible note?
Right now it's a safe, yeah.
A safe note, okay.
Yeah, it's a safe with a 20% discount. We're raising at 5.5, but there's still 62,000 left on a 4 million cap safe. And so, but again, if someone comes in and says, hey, we'll give you the whole 1 million, then everything's a conversation, right?
Sure. Yeah, negotiation. Okay. I saw something come across the chat. I didn't see what it was.
Oh, that was Andrew. Saying thanks. We did have a Facebook comment from Nate Nestor, said he had to run, but would love more info on the investment side. No, you just kind of touched that a little bit. So we'll make sure to put your contact info there in the chat as well, Tino.
Yeah. Let me
bring that slide back up. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have a Wii Funder campaign that's currently live. So it's WiiFunder.com/Baru Furniture. So the advantage of Wii Funder is you can invest with retirement funds. So over the retirement horizon, you know, portfolio term, any investment that you know, if you invest 1% of your portfolio in Baru, and if we go to underperform, that underperformance will get completely obfuscated, hidden, obliterated by the 20 years it's in the portfolio, just by market fluctuation. And then, of course, if we do the 150x we're aiming to do, it becomes a meaningful bump in your portfolio size, or even, you know, or the alpha, you're above market rate of return, and then you get the tax advantages of retirement savings too. And so, yeah, that's cool about Wii Funder that a lot of people don't know about.
That's awesome. You give us that link again?
Yeah. So it's WiiFunder.com/Baru Furniture.
Got it. Thanks.
All right, George, you want to hit the last question, or?
Yeah, all right. So I think you know this, Tino, but actually I didn't get to chat. I was going to ask, what the presentation was like years back if it was the same company, but we'll save that for stirring people's curiosity and reaching out to you. But the last question we ask all of our presenters is what we as a community can do to help you.
Yeah, so I usually have three asks, and today I have three asks. I'm looking for corporate partners, folks who would benefit from the products or the technology that we're using and that we're bringing to market. I'm looking for companies who would want to put us on Baru on their employee perks website so that customers, their employees can order custom desks for their home offices with a discount. And I'm looking for referrals to investors.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tino.
All right. Well, yeah, no, thank you very much for sharing Baru with us, Tino. So we wish you luck. We'll definitely stay in touch here. And for anybody that is out there that, has connections to those things that Tino asked for, encourage you to connect with him. You can find them, go check out the Wii Funder, so you can invest right there. You don't have to be an accredited investor to invest on Wii Funder. So that's a nice thing is for a minimum of $250, you can get a piece of the ride that Tino will be on here the next few years. So thanks for sharing with us, and we'll definitely check back in here in 6 to 9 months. Let's do a refresh and hear the story and where you're at. But we'll stay in touch between now and then. But love to have you back to the audience to hear the growth as you guys get out there. So, but next week we'll be back here 9 a.m. on Wednesday for another episode of 1 Million Cups Columbus. So tune in for that. And everybody have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll chat again soon. Take care.